Welcome to Candy's Classic Game Shrine 2.0. This is more or less how the new game shrine is going to look. There's my door. I put some Space Invaders on it. I have some of my older posters here now. A lot of them from Nintendo New York, formerly known as Nintendo World. Some GameStop Pokemon pre-order posters. This one's one of my favorites, the Super Mario Maker Timeline poster. Over here you have the Mario Evolution Perler Bead art, along with some of my custom amiibo. Give you a quick look here, up close. You have Mega Charizard Y, Mega Charizard X. You have Clone Charizard from the first movie. You have Shiny Charizard. You have Lolo and Lala, although I am aware her bow is the wrong color. I didn't have yellow when I was painting her. So I'm gonna go back and repaint it. This is Miss Pac-Man and Captain Toadette. Those are all my old Tamagotchis hanging there. Over here we have my cart with most of my gaming controllers and stuff. My PS3 controllers are here, 3D printed Nuka-Cola bottle, a broken Game Boy, some NES cart style coasters that I have. This Perler Bead Mario I want to redo because the brown is off. It kind of faded and I want to redo it so it matches the wall over there. We have my planted piranha plant. Some Club Nintendo exclusive sticker patches things. And my labeling system, NES through N64, GameCube through 360, and then my favorite drawer, chargers and shit. This is how they are. I don't know why the Wii U controller's in there, but that's in there too. And this is my cube of consoles. Starting here, we have the PS2 Slim. I have a PS2 Fat, but it's back on the East Coast with my sister, and I want it back if you're watching this, Crystal. Down here, I have my burned games. Yes, I have them. Some of my Switch game boxes, PS2, 3DS, and miscellaneous games. I have my Animal Crossing Bible. More or less. This is for New Leaf. It's the Prima guide, I believe. Over here we have my PlayStation 1. This is the one I was given as a kid, and this is my favorite Resident Evil little statue that I have. It's of Nemesis, which happens to be one of my favorite Resident Evil games. We have the original controllers paired with each console. I don't know if you've noticed. This is my husband's 360 that is in here. Over here we have the Dreamcast with the European controller, for those of you that have noticed. This was given to me and my husband by a friend of ours. And this is the Xbox you've heard me talk so much shit about, including the controller. This is the very controller that prevented me from playing and enjoying the Xbox to the level that so many other people seem to enjoy. Over here is my PS3. Nothing really fancy, it's the original backwards compatible one. Up here is the JVC XI that I was given by a friend of mine called Ben. Have not had a chance to properly hook this up yet, but oh man, she's sitting pretty. Up here we have this monstrosity. The Sega CD the Sega Genesis Model 2. This is also a Model 2 version, and the Sega 32X. I got the Sega CD for $20 as a broken unit when it was actually completely fine. I wound up redoing all the fuses and capacitors in it, only to find out that it had a bad power adapter. Oh, sorry, my cat is in here. She'd like to say hello. Say hello, Pookie. Meow. Over here we have my SNES Mini. Now that the NES Mini is out and readily available, I might pick one up just to even the set out, but I don't know. I'm not really that concerned with it. Over here is my reproduction, I want to say that now, my reproduction controller that I made for my Sharp NES TV. I used to have all of the original stuff because this has been in my family since it was brand new, but things happen, family happens, and moving happens. Over here we have my original SNES from when I was a kid, along with my Super EverDrive and my Super Game Boy. Over here is my top loader with my EverDrive N8 with the dog bone controller. Down here is the Wii U with the Wii U gamepad. Very misunderstood console. I love it. It's kind of like my love for the Virtual Boy. Over here we have the Wii with the Wii Nunchuck and the Wiimote. Over here we have one of my original NES controllers. Or not my original NES controllers, that too, but one of my original NES consoles. As a kid I had so many of them because the pin connectors would always wear out, so my parents would buy a new console and then repair the broken one and have that one in an old room, or another room. So this is one of them. That's another one, and then the others have been lost to time. This controller is one of the few original NES controllers I had since I was a kid. You can see it's been through hell, and surprisingly it's the best working controller I have, and it's duct taped and masking taped together from the 80s and 90s. So this just goes to show you that I was the original angry video game nerd. Over here is my GameCube. This is a console I don't have much experience with. I bought this maybe 5 years ago, and honestly I don't have that much of a library to play on it. I really just have Pokemon games and the Game Boy Advance player. I have this, but I haven't gotten it to work correctly, and it really hasn't been that much of a concern since I can just load up the ISOs on my Wii or the Wii U. Over here we have my Nintendo 64, original to me, like many of my systems, and this one works. The joystick in the controller has been replaced. I fixed it up a bit because mine was really wobbly, but it is working nice now. And you'll see in here I have my EverDrive 64. I tried to make custom artwork for most of my EverDrives, and you can see I tried to make it like the Super Mario 64 label. Up here you have a little perler bead discoon with a Nintendo Famicom disk system and the Famicom itself. These are both non-working units because there's no reason for me to get them working. The EverDrive N8 over here will play both the disc and the cartridge games for the system, and I just wanted it to display, to be completely honest. Up here you have my NES Advantage and my Duck Hunt and Zapper light that I made. It does work. I'll turn it on for everyone. Let me just stand up. There we go. It's on, hasn't caught fire or anything. I do want to do the shade over for it. It got a little messed up in the move. Up here we have perler bead art that says Nintendo with some of my wedding Super Mario Odyssey amiibo. There is some Lolo, Lala, and Kirby perler bead art. You've got a map of Hyrule, some Super Mario Bros. 1 art in perler bead, and here is my shelf of handhelds. Up top you're going to see the original PSP, then the PSP Slim, the Vita, followed by a Neo Geo Pocket, and then a Cybico, which is that purple thing that's standing up. It's an old Russian PDA that was kind of out before smartphones and stuff. It's a really unique piece of gaming and electronic history. You also have my completely redone Game Gear with a new screen lens, all of that, fresh caps, and it's honestly one of my favorite handhelds. Shh, don't tell my Nintendo handhelds that. Down here you have my original DMG, the one that I've had since I was a kid. Then you have a Play It Loud version that I bought later in life. Over here you're gonna see a Game Boy Pocket, well, two versions of the Game Boy Pocket. You have the one with the, oh sorry, this is the Game Boy Light. This should go here. Somebody's been playing with this. This is the one I was talking about. This is the Game Boy Pocket with the LED light here. And then this is the one that came out first. The first version of the Game Boy Pocket did not have the LED indicator light and people complained, so they reissued it with an LED light. I wound up getting one that was a Japan exclusive because I just love the old DMG Game Boy look, and it's just so nice. Over here you have my EverDrive GB. My EverDrive Game Gear is in here. Now over here, as you saw before, you have, this is my Game Boy Light. You can see how similar the consoles are at a quick glance. This one also obviously is a Japan import. Works perfectly fine. And here is one of my original Game Boy colors. I had the aqua green blue one as a kid, but it got stolen. This is the only one that survived, unfortunately, this crappy grape color. Next up would be my original Game Boy Advance. I remember being really excited when this came out and then not really finding anything outside of Pokemon to play on it. Now I know there's more games for it that are really fun to play, but as a kid, there weren't that many good titles to be found in the stores near me. I don't know if it was a matter of people getting to them before me or what. Over here you have the SP, but this is the 00 one if I'm not mistaken. Yep, this is the AGS 001. This is the one with the front light. This one isn't as good, but still fun to play on at a pinch. This one here is the AGS 101. This is the one with the backlight. This is the one that everybody hacks apart to put the screen inside the original Game Boy Advance. Over here between them you'll see my EverDrive. This is the X5. This is one of the very first ones that came out. And here is my Game Boy Micro with a custom 3D printed screen to look like the original Game Boy. I honestly don't play it too much, but I love the cute form factor and I love the fact that you can replace the faceplates. Over here are my original DS and DS Lite systems. I got these, well, I got this one around the time I graduated high school and moved to Pennsylvania. This one I got obviously a little bit later when it was fresh out of the stores. Over here you're going to find the DSi and the DSi XL. Nothing too fancy about them, except that one's like a nice bronze color. I'll take it out. You don't see it too often. Has a ton of fingerprints on it. It's the one thing I don't like about the glossy finishes on some of the Nintendo handhelds, like the DS Lite over here, the 3DS XL, and even the original 3DS, which is what we're getting to now. This is one of the original 3DSs that I had. I had a red one, but it got broken. This is a custom painted 3DS XL. And right here is this ugly frickin' wedge 2DS. Over here we have the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL. I currently have my Pokemon Red faceplates on it. Now let me stand up and show you guys the amiibo wall, I guess is what I'm going to call this. Up here on the top you have my DK amiibo stand. showing, well, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Silver Mario, Waluigi, Toad, Wario, Rosalina, Boo, and Gold Mario. Over here I have some Duck Hunt Perler Bead art, including the dog laughing at you. Over here you have the Splatoon amiibo, at least the ones that are released now. Up here you have the end level display, along with some of the pipe displays and the fire bar display. These are the Super Mario Land and the Super Mario Brothers line, as well as the 30th anniversary. This is more amiibo, as well as my Wii U box. We have the Sky amiibo up top. You have the Metroid amiibo here. And then we have these guys in the back. I want to eventually get like a riser so they're not all the way in the back looking like that. But working with what I got for now. And here is probably one of my favorite parts of the room. This is the Virtual Boy display case. And as you can see, we have my Virtual Boy Perler Bead art, the Virtual Girl, and her controller matching Perler Bead art. Down here, we have the issue of Nintendo Power that features the Virtual Boy. Here's the envelope with the accompanying 3D glasses for that issue, my boxed copy of Hyper Fighting, and my boxed Flash Boy Plus. The two cables you see here, the black one is a USB link cable, and the red one is a regular link cable for two systems. The little black box in the center is how I've been emulating my games. I've been plugging a USB cord into it and then putting the controller in the other end, and it allows me to play pretty easily. And then you have a little Virtual Boy sticker. Over here you have what little boxes I have, as well as my loose games and an extra controller that I converted into a USB controller. And here's my Ding Dong Doggy sitting on my makeshift rug out of a old broken power pad. So before my dog completely derails me, let me finish showing you this amiibo shelf. So over here you have the Splatoon amiibo. At the moment there's a whole bunch more that are coming out that I have pre-ordered. So I'm going to be ordering more of these leather risers and painting them once the new amiibo come in so I can match the colors correctly. Down here is a smaller version of the Yoshi's Woolly World amiibo display that I had at my last house. Figured downsizing it would be better for everything. You still have the little yarn balls that I made, the buttons, the jewels. You got the amiibo Poochie and the one that I commissioned off of someone on Etsy, as well as the baby Bowser that I commissioned from someone on Etsy as well. Down here, you're gonna see all of my Legend of Zelda amiibo. I don't like how they're currently displayed. I'd like to spruce this up a little bit somehow, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Down here, you're going to find my Chibi Robo display, which I tried to create a smaller version of one I saw in New York City. A few things fell off of it in the move, but it's not going to be that difficult to find a bottle cap and a few other things. Over here is the Planet Robobot Kirby amiibo, as well as the diorama that you can get from Japan. Down here is the Shovel Knight amiibo display that I made. The fireplace, or not the fireplace, the campfire lights up. It's battery operated. And there's little jewels in the cave, or the treasure chest. I have the other 3 Shovel Knight amiibo pre-ordered, and I can't wait to stick them in here. Over here you have Detective Pikachu, the Pikmin amiibo, and the Q-Beat amiibo, which was exclusive to Japan. These are just amiibo that have been one-offs in a set and don't really come in a line. Now this is what I want to show off. This is probably the second favorite thing in, or my second favorite thing in my shrine. This would be my Pokemon display. I have a poster of the original 151 up here, followed by a hat that I made for a cosplay one year for Comic-Con New York, a Rayquaza plushie that I got from Nintendo New York, some Charizard Matryoshka dolls, the most adorable little Laughing Mew plush. This is a Japanese exclusive. It's from the I Love Mew line. Oh, I knocked it off the shelf. We'll stick it here for now. This is the 20th anniversary for Pokemon. This is the Mew that came out. I think this was a GameStop exclusive, if I remember correctly. I have a little Ditto plush that I had bought from someone on Etsy. Over here is my N64 Pokemon games, starting with the American games and then moving on to the Japanese Pokemon Stadium variations. This is just some little bootleg Mewtwo from the movie in his armor. Thought it was really cool, so I grabbed it. Over here is a little Gashapon toy I grabbed from Pink Gorilla when I was there in Seattle. Over here is going to be my Game Boy Pokemon games and Game Boy Advance games. I have a little paper diploma that I made from the original Pokemon Red and Blue. I know it says Ash. I know it's supposed to be red, but I made this off of nostalgia, and as a kid I always thought it was Ash. I didn't know it was red until much later. So that's why it looks like that. A little paper Pokeball that I made, a perler bead missing no, and this adorable little substitute doll. Here's a close-up of my American Pokemon Game Boy games. And for those of you wondering, yes, those are glue sticks. They prevent the games from falling flat in the nail polish stand. And here are my Japanese games. As well as the Game Boy Advance video Pokemon cards. Over here, we're going to see the few Japanese and European exclusives here. This is the black and white trading card game for the Nintendo DS. This was a Japanese exclusive. Underneath it was a game that released in Europe and Japan. The white version was only released in Europe, whereas the black and white version were released in Japan. This is a typing adventure, and it's available to play on the DS. It also works with the 3DS. Underneath it is a game called Pokemon Tretta, which is basically a home version of a Japanese arcade game where you battle Pokemon with these little plastic tokens. Those would be seagulls in the background if you can hear that. Underneath those games, you'll see my Pokemon Pikachu 1 and 2, little pedometer Tamagotchi things. Next to it, this blue thing here is a Pokemon Mini. Underneath it are two Pokewalkers. The one that's damaged was chewed by my wonderful dog here when she was a puppy. Yep, talking about you. And you have a little plushie here. I can never pronounce the name correctly for this little guy, but I think he's adorable. Up here you have a red, blue, oak, and generic monster perler bead sprites. And over here you have my Nintendo DS and 3DS Pokemon games. Now, underneath here would be the GameCube, Wii, and Wii U, and Switch games for Pokemon. You have Pokemon Channel, Pokemon Box, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Coliseum Bonus Disc, Pokken Tournament DX for the Switch, Pokken Tournament for the Wii U, Pokepark 1 and 2, and Pokemon Battle Revolution. You have some cute little Charizard, you have my cat's tail. You have some cute Mega Charizard figures, as well as another Gashapon figure of Wobbuffet. Forgot to show you up here, I have tiny little figures of Mew and Mewtwo here, as well as this little Mew figure. Can you tell that I like Mew and Charizard? Over here, all the way on the bottom, you're gonna find a snowman chest pin and a vampire Pikachu on top of the boxes for majority of my DS and 3DS Pokemon games. In front of it is a trainer belt with 3 Pokeballs, and I believe inside are Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. Next to it, you're gonna find these PC programs. They're not games, but they're programs that let you make like cards and images and even shrinky dinks with Pokemon images. It was very basic. I had it as a kid, but I loved it. Each version has slightly different Pokemon in it, just like the video games. And next to it here, you are gonna see the Prima guide for Pokemon Red. I had this when I was young and I've used it so many times, it's pretty much memorized at this point. Next to it is the official Pokemon handbook. Also had this when I was young and I absolutely loved it. There's so many mistakes in it, but it's okay. I used to love picking them out. This here is a custom amiibo that I made for Pokemon's 20th anniversary, and it's the black and white Pikachu, supposed to be based off of the sprite in the games. It's the only amiibo that I've done custom with a box, and honestly, due to the amount of work that it involved, it's most likely going to be the last one that I do too. Now behind that Pikachu was also another Pikachu on a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket holder that was Pokemon themed. That's pretty much it for my Pokemon stuff, at least until all the Switch stuff comes out. Over here is more amiibo. You're gonna find the Super Mario Cereal amiibo, an Animal Crossing amiibo card album, and the Super Mario Sports All-Star amiibo card album. They're all complete and all filled. Now, the figures here were Japanese exclusives and released from Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Stories, if I remember correctly, which is a really fun game. The riders can be taken off of the amiibo and interchanged with the other figures. I find it really cool, and it's some of my favorite amiibos made. Down here are more amiibo card albums, but these are specifically... My cat would like to let everyone know that she's here. Happy now? Okay. Now, like I was saying, sorry about that, I have more amiibo card albums here. They're all Animal Crossing, mostly Happy Home Designer, until you get to this card album and this card album. Those are going to be used, you can use them in Happy Home Designer, however they're also used in Animal Crossing New Leaf when the Welcome Amiibo edition was added. You'll see that I also have the Animal Crossing figures here, and you will find that everybody's here and accounted for. I have both versions of Isabelle, as well as a few customs, as you can see here. I really loved Lolly. She was one of my favorite characters, so I had to make a custom of her. I also wound up making a female villager because I felt it was a missed opportunity on Nintendo's part to never make one. Now behind everyone here is the Sahara amiibo that I made completely from scratch, using a bit of foil to sculpt and some epoxy. Over here you'll find I have a Zelda cap and my old AVGC passes right next to my Smash Brothers amiibo stand. I've got all of the ones that have been released. We all know that that's going to be changing, and I'm kind of honestly not looking forward to it. Now before I forget, I didn't make the back of my door bare. I've added some awesome artwork to that too. So my room is still a work in progress. Some of the artwork from my walls have been lost in the move, and I'm going to be replacing them soon. I want some Virtual Boy patent prints that I'm probably going to hang on the wall over here or behind me by the Virtual Boy stand if there's room. There's a few other odds and ends here and there, but what you see here is pretty much what the final product will be. I'm happy to hear what everyone's comments are. Feedback is always welcome. And yeah, till next time guys, take care.